So this is not centered properly. Okay.
We're not we are not live.
It's not working?
Now it is. All right.
We're here. It's over.
Oh God. What a season. What a season.
It's horrible.
It's uh, the worst season in Giants history.
Easily.
That's well, yes, I believe that's what they said. 14 straight losses. Well, actually, no, because we won last week.
If you
But
if you admit
but that
last
was at
game.
home. But that was at home, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
So it was 14 straight road losses. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well,
How
home
about
or
that?
away, it really didn't matter for us this season, whether we were
No.
home or away. My girlfriend would ask me all the time. She's like, "You guys home or away?" I was like, "Why does it matter?" It didn't matter. There was no home field advantage. There was nothing.
Nothing.
We were just there.
They were just there.
The highlight was Malik Nabers. Well, for now, having the record for single season for a receiver by a rookie. So for now, uh, either way, that's the only highlight that we have from this season. The defense regressed. The quarterback situation somehow regressed. Somehow. It was already really bad, but it got worse.
Yeah, I think
The
so.
running back situation regressed. Everything. The lineman situation also was pretty positive, if I'm being honest. It's still bad. Still not a good offensive line. The fact that we are 31st in rush defense. I don't want to get into the defensive stats aside from that. Like you already know, that's the second to the worst. And that's just the drop that we took. And that's partly because of Brian Daboll making Wink Martindale leave. A lot of these issues that we have been caused by Daboll.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about Daboll because the announcers pissed me off when they're talking about how Daboll said there were some highlights from the season talking about people performing and everything. And I'm like, why? Why are you trying to be optimistic when we were put in this situation because of your decision making and your choice? You weren't forced to do this. You chose to sign Daniel Jones to that contract extension.
Yeah.
You vouched for him.
Yeah.
You said that
I
he was worth the
did.
money, Dayball.
They did.
You said he was worth the money. You're somehow convinced or brainwashed. I'm gonna call it brainwashed. Brainwashed the general manager into thinking that Saquon was no longer needed. And forget about Saquon not even being here anymore. We let him go. He walked. We got nothing out of it. At least when
Got
the Titans got
nothing.
rid of Derrick
Nothing
Henry,
for
they got
him.
something. The
Yeah,
Titans got something when
nothing.
they got rid of Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
But we got nothing.
We
That
got
has to
nothing
be the
for him.
dumbest move in NFL history, not just franchise history, in NFL history. Especially when you look at the stats. The Eagles are 14-3. Saquon
Yeah.
had over 2,000 rushing yards a whole season later from being on one of the bottom three teams in the league. He's now on one of the best teams in the league. And the only thing that changed for the Eagles was that Saquon went there and they performed even better. That's really the only thing that changed for them. They didn't really get anyone else aside from him. That was the biggest acquisition they got, Saquon. And they go 14-3 with that. There were a lot of games that were won behind his rushing that we wouldn't have won those games because of how bad our team is. But I could see us winning at least 2 or 3 more games than what we already did, which is not saying much, but it's the fact that you gave him away for nothing. If
Yeah.
we had gotten something for Saquon, it still would suck. It still would hurt. It would still not be fun to watch. But at least we would have had something.
Yeah.
But we just got nothing. And surprise, the running back situation was in shambles. Aside from Tyrone Tracy Jr. having a rookie season, but again, he's a rookie, so we didn't have any expectations for a rookie coming in. But for Devin friggin' Singletary, why give him number 26 if you're gonna have him riding the bench for like what 8 weeks? It was like 10 weeks. He was not a starter. He was not a starting running back for a majority of this season. We had Tyrone Tracy Jr. in there more than him. When Devin Singletary was out there, He gets you what, 30 yards? Let's see what he did today. Oh, look, 22 yards. This is what we got to
That's what
replace
we got.
Saquon and wear number 26.
That's what we got.
There are at least 8 games where Devin Singletary has less than 30 rushing yards. At least 8. This is one of them. I think at one point I saw he had 12 in one of those games.
Oh my God.
No, terrible. Devin Singletary is atrociously bad. Why? Have him change his jersey number. No one's going to buy his jersey, even if you change the number. But certainly no one's buying a number 26.
No, no, no,
No one's buying that.
no.
So, and I thought about this. Their revenue numbers, everything definitely went down a bunch this year, rightfully deserved. I hope that nobody bought any jerseys this year. If they did, I hope it was just Malik Nabers. That's the only person that you really, and Wandale Robinson. That's about it. I wouldn't buy anyone else's jerseys right now. Maybe some defensive players, maybe, but don't buy the quarterbacks. Don't buy Devin Singletary's. Definitely don't buy anything Devin Singletary related. It's not worth it.
No.
That guy is a certified bum. And it's a shame that he may be here next year.
Yeah,
I can't
it's a possibility.
I can't own him as a teammate. Like as a fan, I can't own him as the running back. It's just he's just there. And I refuse to get behind Brian Daboll and Joe Shane anymore. I'm done. I don't care if next season somehow is miraculously better. And miraculously better could be 7 wins. It could be 8 wins. I don't care. I'm done with the Joe Shane and Brian Daboll era. It sickens me that Daboll will more than likely be here next year because they were talking about him like he was going to be here. He said he immediately starts working in the offseason after this game. Why do we care about that after we saw how you guys work in the offseason in Hard Knocks? He said it like it was supposed to mean he's determined to turn things around. We already see how you guys operate.
Yeah, we've had a front row seat to that for a whole season.
And they should have never let that go out. They should have never agreed to any of this because at least if we didn't know about any of this, it could still be a mystery to us and we would like still be wondering what happened. We have a whole we were there basically. We were a part of it. We were there.
Yeah.
Like we got to see exactly what it is that they thought about, what decisions they made to make the team better. When it really was just, do we need this guy? Do you think that there's somebody out there that's cheaper? Not better, cheaper.
Cheaper. And that's you always get what you pay for, son. Always get what you pay for.
Yep. You definitely always get what you pay for, especially if you're trying to be cheap in the NFL. How are you supposed to get anybody that's a difference maker when you're not paying them? Or how are you supposed to keep a difference maker when you're paying the people that aren't difference makers? Daniel Jones will be a bench warmer for the rest of his career. He will not be a starter at any other team, unless, of course, their starting quarterback on that team he's on is injured for the whole season. He will not actually get a starting job again in the NFL. He will not see it. He won't. I can guarantee you that he'll just be a backup quarterback. He'll be a journeyman backup quarterback for the rest of his career. He never was supposed to be with the Giants for 6 years.
He could make a living like that.
He sure can, but 6 seasons of that, we really gave him 6 seasons.
Yeah.
We could have gave him 2.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Most quarterbacks get barely even a full season.
Yeah,
Some of them, they lose their opportunities.
He never lived up to whatever hype they saw.
Never. Not like, like not even close. Like even when we were like delusional after that first playoff win against the Vikings, it still wasn't, it was still a mystery. It was still, what was he going to do next week? And shocker, he got destroyed. So it's just, I don't know. I can't even be, I was very mad watching this game earlier. It's hard for me to be mad right now because I got it all out watching the game because it was sickening me that we played so well last week, had the game of the century basically, to play like this against the friggin' backups. Not against the Eagles starters, the backups. This is how we played against the backups. It's like we understood the assignment again all of a sudden. I was like, oh yeah, we need to tank and make sure we keep this draft position. Why did we do that when we were number 1?
Yeah.
So it's almost like the Giants specifically wanted the 4th overall pick. I don't know why. I don't know. I can't logically put together a thought process for this team anymore because of how Joe Shane ran this previous offseason and how the season has been to this so far and what we did to get up to this point to be 3-14.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I feel that John Mara needs to seriously self-reflect, um, and maybe give the reins to a younger Mara that could at least shape these fools out in the right direction to where they actually make competent decisions, because it doesn't make sense how you are getting paid as much as you are as a general manager and a head coach. And this is the product that you only continue to regress. You don't improve. So far, they've only regressed. That's it.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
has never been a slow, consistent improvement. No, it's just trash, 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 trash. Just that's all it really was. We had that one fluke season with the weakest schedule ever that I think the Giants will ever have in the next 10 years. That was the weakest schedule we'll ever have. And then you put us in a semi decent schedule. We win what, 5 games the season before this? It was like 5 or 6 games. And then
Yeah.
now you put us in a more competitive situation without Saquon, and we just get destroyed
Mhm.
week in and week out. Remember, guys, a whole several months of losing, 3 months of losing. We spent a whole season, like seasonal, like I'm talking about actual like fall, winter, spring, those kind of seasons, not the actual football season. We spent almost a whole season watching just losses that whole fall. Like once we
Yeah.
got to winter, we get our first win. That's crazy to me. Like it's
Yeah.
just brutal. It's so brutal, and it truly can't get worse than this. It truly can't. There's no way that you get worse than what this was, especially for the 100th season. It doesn't get any worse than this. You're trying to celebrate your 100th season, and you finish it 3-14. You
It
don't
is an
have a starting quarterback.
embarrassing. It is such an
Horrible.
embarrassment.
I can't.
It's terribly embarrassing for the Giants organization to, I mean, you can have a losing season, but to have a completely, totally losing season is bad.
And then do it the wrong
Um,
way.
and then do it the wrong way. Exactly. Um, yeah. There's just not much. There's not much there to put in the history books for the next 100 years, right? You know, it was recognized, and they're lucky they were able to do that. Was to
Yeah.
recognize the 100th anniversary of the Giants organization. Um, Great, but there was nothing to write home about when it comes to the actual game and how people played, and they just I mean, it was one of the worst seasons of Giants football I've ever seen.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. It's right up there with Mike Lennon throwing for a -10 passing yards.
Oh my God. You always
Right
bring
up
that
there.
up.
I'm sorry. It's just that is like, to me, I thought that was like the worst the Giants could get was the Mike Glennon era. I thought nothing could get worse than that. I was totally
No.
wrong. I was totally wrong. It was Joe Shane and Brian Daboll coming into this organization and destroying it. Like they just took the Dave Gettleman era and said, "I can do worse than that. Hold my beer." And just here we are. Like
Yeah,
that's literally
that's
what it feels like. And I can't. I will never let go of this Saquon fiasco, him being on the Eagles. This will be carried with me all the way to my grave. It's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life, because if we don't recover from this, we will always look back at that moment when Saquon left. For
yeah.
these next 5 to 10 years, if we just keep struggling and struggling, every Giants fan has the right to point the finger at Joe Shane and Brian Daboll and saying, "Look what y'all did. You put us in the worst spot we've ever been in." We thought there was nothing worse than Gettleman, but we have literally eclipsed everything that he did. Everything. Like, it's insane. And we will continue to struggle because now we have to find a quarterback in the draft every year until we actually land a good one. So, and that could take 5 years. We could get a quarterback in these next 5 years, and they are a disappointment, and then we have to try to go again. So this is what we're dealing with, Giants fans. There's nothing else to look forward to. Like I said, Malik Nabers is probably the only light spot we have. Wandale Robinson being another one, honorable mention. Tyrone Tracy Jr., another honorable mention. Although I don't want him because I want Saquon, he's still an honorable mention for positive outlooks on the season next season. But other than that, defensive coordinators got to go. That whole coaching staff for the defensive team has to go. Special teams coordinators got to go. Brian Daboll needs to stop being the offensive coordinator. Stop play calling, please. Just stop.
He did not make a difference. He did not.
No, he's terrible. He's not
No,
good at play calling. He's not.
no. That was more than what he needed to do.
It
It
was
really
horrible.
was.
It was terrible. Get someone else.
Michael Holmes is in the chat. Hello, family. Drew Lock saved the day. This Giants team can't stop a nosebleed.
No, they can't.
And Michael also says, shout out to Malik Nabers. Absolutely.
Yep.
Malik Nabers.
Malik Nabers for sure gets a shout out. The one
For
highlight to our season, really.
for Malik Nabers to be able to set records despite the crappy situation around him, that
Speaks
tells you
volumes
what
to his
type.
skill.
It absolutely does. It says a lot about him, about what he can do, what more he's capable of with the right system.
If if we somehow manage to keep him, I pray that we actually do the right thing. Get him a quarterback, get a better offensive line, maybe get one more receiver. We don't really need that many other receivers. I think that receiving core is fine the way it is. They just need a better line so that they actually have time to get open and the quarterback can actually read a play, and we get a quarterback that can make more than one read. It is not just like a Daniel Jones, I'm going to look at this one route, and until it's open, I'm going to just stare at it. And then if it's not
Right.
open, I'll just go to the check down.
Yeah,
And it's
that's not
just,
helping.
why was Tanner McKee so much better than Daniel Jones?
Yes, he seemed he was ready for the assignment. He hasn't really been able to start all season, and he's been riding the bench, and he was ready. And when they called upon Tanner, the Eagles called upon him. He did his thing.
His mechanics, like he read all the routes. He didn't stare a route down. He got out the pocket when he needed to. He felt the pressure. He did things that you would expect any quarterback that starts at the professional level to do. Daniel Jones couldn't do that consistently.
Yeah.
And we gave him 6 seasons to try that. Like, the Giants need to get into this mentality of one and done. We're at this point in
Yeah.
our franchise where it's like, if they are not it for this season, get rid of them. Try somebody else next season. We can't keep giving these people opportunities when they just keep failing. And certainly not somebody who didn't deserve to be drafted at number 6 in the first round overall and never was supposed to be drafted in the first round. But you still
No.
tried to give him a chance over and over and over again. How is it that Daniel Jones made it through 4 head coaches and 2 different general managers?
True.
How? He didn't just get through that many coaches. He got through 2 general managers. 2!
Yeah.
That's never happened in the NFL. I haven't seen a quarterback last that long that failed like that. I've never seen a quarterback witness not just multiple head coaches, but multiple general managers in their career before they got traded. Well, he got released. He got forced into being asked to be released. Which again, shame on the Giants for not just ripping off the Band-Aid and admitting that it was their fault and just coming to an agreement saying, yeah, do you want to just go your separate way? We just cut it off
Yes.
right now. But no, they had to disrespect Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones did not ask to be drafted at number 6 in the
He
first
did
round.
not. I mean, everybody wants to go as high up as possible, of course.
He didn't call the Giants
But
to be like, draft me, please. They made that
yeah,
decision.
they made that decision.
So why
Now,
punish Daniel Jones and disrespect him like that and make him go on the practice squad as a safety, the 4th string safety? Why? And then force this man into asking for a resignation when you chose to pay him. You chose to let Saquon Barkley go. But you have to make Daniel Jones make the decision of, I don't want to be here anymore. What kind of organization? What is that?
Disorganized. Hopefully they'll get their ish together on the off season, because there's a lot that needs to be kind of figured out.
They better not do a Hard
Yeah.
Knocks this offseason.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
I think that they will refuse to do that this time. I would hope that they do that. I don't want to see what they're doing. I don't want to know that. I actually don't want to know anymore. I don't want to know what they do. I just want to see the product and just take it at face value. I don't want to know any sort of off-season moves anymore from these fools because it's just going to raise my blood pressure. I'm going to be getting PTSD and thinking about the terrible, horrible seasons and just imagining Saquon running for almost 200 yards on us again every season now. So I just can't.
Michael
Saquon looks
Holmes
so
says
happy.
he does look happy, and you know what? He gave he was giving, giving dap and everything to everybody at the end, hugging his old, his former colleagues, and they say he still talks to a lot of those guys on the phone. I mean, it's
He didn't have a problem with them. He had a problem with the coaches. And he had no issues with the teammates. They all loved
he's
Saquon.
he has a lot of faith in his skill set, because I'm sure he'll everybody wants to get a record, right? You want to get a record, but he
Yeah.
couldn't break that record. He'll get there again. But it was nice to see him and interacting with his former teammates. And that there's no love lost there. And it's unfortunate what that team has done to break up the family that they had, because they had a family. They had a
Yeah.
family. Michael Holmes says, I heard if they don't fire Daboll tonight, they both are coming back next season. Daboll isn't the answer. He can't play call or coach. It's
He
true.
cannot. He definitely cannot coach. He can't make any offensive play calls. He needs to have some sort of demotion. After this season, this next season comes up, if he stays and we have another losing season, he has to go. And so does Joe Shane. They both
I
gotta go.
agree.
They gotta go.
They gotta go. I believe that they're not going to get rid of everyone at the same time.
No.
I have a feeling that if they need to blame somebody, they could easily blame Dayball, kick him out. But how many head coaches are there floating around right now that
Good
that
head
are ready?
coaches. Not many.
Yeah. So will there is it likely that there'll be a new GM? That's possible. Uh, the Maras have said, one of them said they're not a package deal. The GM and the head coach are not a package deal, meaning we can do what we want with them. I
Yeah.
can keep one, get rid of one, vice versa, whatever it is. Um, it's just we just can't continue down the path with Dayball at the helm. I think it's the team, the individuals that suit up for every game. They need someone else to report into.
Yeah.
It's just they need to have someone else that's going to give them and make them feel like they can win, and provide them with the plays that get them further down the field
Right.
in a more successful way. I mean,
Let's talk about that. 13 plays for 30 yards in the first quarter. We had 13 plays for 30 yards. Dayball. How is it that the Eagles had 4 plays for 51? What are we doing? See, now the mom just triggered me because now I remember everything that I wanted to curse out Dayball for. Now I'm getting mad. How? How do we have 70 yards of offense, right? And we had 15 minutes of playtime we had of time of possession, excuse me. We had a whole quarter's worth of the ball possession. And we had
Mm,
70 yards total offense. 20 of those being passing yards.
wow.
What are we doing? How do
Not
you
much.
have and then you're down by 10 points, by the way. We had over 2 minutes more of time of possession on the Eagles, and they were up by 10. It makes zero sense that you can have the ball for longer than your opposing team that you're playing against. And you're not only losing, but you have less yardage. So what are you doing? How are you wasting all that time if we're not getting any yards?
Exactly.
What's happening? And then I'm realizing I'm like, we're going 3-and-out. So how are we having the ball longer than these fools? None of it makes sense. None of it. And then again, we're always bottom three at scoring. We're always bottom three in red zone percentage. And for like the last like 5 years, maybe even longer. But from my memory, it's at least the last 5 seasons we've been bottom three in field goal percentage, or excuse me, red zone percentage. It has to change at some point, right? And the
You would
only common
think.
denominator I see, right, you would think the only common denominators we have right now, and one of them we got rid of, Daniel Jones, Brian Daboll, and Joe Shane. The offensive line, they try to change it every year, but they get these people from other teams that either were backups or they get the one good guy from a team. Like, see, we got this one guy, he's top 10 in his position. But then they go and get all these other people from like backup roles or practice squads. They'll just sign other linemen, bunch them in. They'll get someone from a team that's already getting rid of their whole team anyway. Like the Raiders was doing several years ago. I think 2 years ago, they were just giving away people. Illuminor was one of those people last season. Illuminor came from the Raiders and came over to us. And the Raiders seemed to have done not as bad as we did. So it clearly Illuminor wasn't needed over there. But look
Yeah.
what we did with Illuminor. And then look what happens when Illuminor gets hurt, and then you got to put Evan Neal in. And it's just like now we suck again. Again, another top 10 draft pick that was wasted. Evan Neal is a bust. He's not good. Andrew Thomas, the most inconsistent top 3 overall draft pick ever. Super inconsistent. All these first round top 10 picks that we got over the last 3 years have been nothing but busts, except for like Malik Nabers.
Yeah.
And Kayvon Thibodeau is doing all right. But you got half of the fan base that's conflicted about Kayvon Thibodeau and thinks that he's a waste. Then you got people like me that love him. My mom loves him too. But like the fact that that's a top 5 overall pick and you have half the fan base that's upset with him and thinks he's not doing enough, you could view that as a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
That
Big
that's
time.
another potentially not good draft pick. The
Yeah.
Giants keep missing on majority of their first round draft picks. So now we have to sit here and pray again that we do the right thing somehow. I don't even know what the right thing is anymore. It's it's a very gray area, this draft pick. This year, this draft is going to be a little gray area because not many of these quarterbacks are promising to be franchise quarterbacks for like the next 8 to 10 years. These are guys that need to prove themselves. So the Giants being in a situation where they need guys that are franchise quarterbacks right away, we are not in this position where if we get a guy who is a hit or miss, that we will be okay, if that makes sense. It's like, no, we're not a team that can afford on missing. We need to start hitting on all these draft picks now. It needs to start like this offseason coming up because now we have truly restarted once again. Like, this is probably the closest reset we'll ever get. We don't have our franchise running back anymore. We don't have that quarterback anymore. Um, the linemen, are majority of them are different from the several seasons ago. We've got a whole bunch of young receivers, excluding Darius Slayton because he's not young anymore. But outside of Darius Slayton, we got a whole bunch of
He's
young
definitely
receivers.
not young.
He's not, but we got a bunch of young guys across all positions. That defense is young as hell. Outside of Burns, and I think that's it. Burns and maybe a couple of defensive tackles, but majority of those players are all young guys. This is the closest thing that we'll get to a fresh start, minus Daboll and Joe Shane being in the picture. Once they're gone, then it really would be another reset. But right now, in terms of player personnel, we don't have Daniel Jones anymore. We don't have to try to play around that nonsense, trying to figure out what we can do to help him out. Now we got to figure out who the next quarterback is going to be. We got to figure out if the offensive line is going to stay the same. And it better not. Spoiler alert. It better not. And right now, I feel the only positions that we can be comfortable about are receivers and majority of the defense. I think the only issue we have on defense is that we lost Xavier McKinney and Julian Love. We lost our team captain in Julian Love, and we lost our difference maker in Xavier McKinney. Those are 2 big positions that we lost, and that's why the secondary is a lot worse than what it was a season ago. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of missing pieces that need to be replaced. A lot more than there already was. There was already a bunch of missing pieces before, but the puzzle is almost half empty at this point. So I don't know what the Giants are going to do from here on out. I just know that this is going to be the roughest revival operation I think, in sports history because man,
Yeah.
you get rid of your what draws fans in to buy items. You get rid of Saquon. You get rid of your big cash cow. You get rid of the quarterback that was overpaid and was the biggest controversy in football for the last 6 years. It
Yeah.
just and now you bring in this young guy, this young receiver, Malik Nabers, who hates losing like a lot, and
Yeah.
you put him in an environment that is just a loser's mentality. Like he's in a loser's mentality environment right now. And that is not going to end well for him. It's not going to end well for the Giants fans because he may leave. He may try to walk out.
Absolutely.
If there's a way for him to
Absolutely.
get out, he will certainly find a way to get out.
Absolutely.
He's got his receptions. He was complaining that they weren't throwing him the ball. He had 109 receptions. So they listened to him. They were like, all right, well, at least we try to keep him happy. But we got 3 wins out of it.
Yeah.
That's the craziest stat I've ever heard. Somebody had over 100 receptions on a team and they only won 3 games. That's like Megatron worthy esque, like Calvin Johnson from the Detroit Lions. He was that receiver that was always top in his position, but was on a losing team.
Yeah.
So like, wow, just can't. You can't make it up.
You can't make it up. That's for sure. It's it really is something to look at when you look back at the stats and you know Michael Holmes made a good point and said he really didn't know anybody, no one on the Eagles team. It was all no names when we got beat by no names today. Absolutely, I hadn't really seen any of those guys play, right? But there they were out there spanking the New York Giants. Michael Holmes wants to know: Are we going to be doing anything during the playoffs? Only, I think we'd only do something if there was news related to the Giants. That was what we needed to talk about.
If the Eagles lose, I'll react. I'll talk a lot of trash. I'll talk the most trash. We can revisit that. If the Eagles when look, I'm gonna be optimistic. When the Eagles lose in the playoffs, I'll be back. I don't know about my mom, but I'll be back.
Thanks, King Big Mo. Thank you. King Big Mo says, "Thank you, Jesus. This embarrassing nightmare of a season is finally over." With the hand claps. Absolutely. I mean, that's it. It is.
It's finally over.
It's over. Jesus brought us all the way to the end.
Now I just need to watch basketball and forget about football. I need to watch basketball and just erase all of this from my memory.
Yeah.
But if fans are interested in us reacting to certain games in the postseason, like my mother said, if it's mostly Giants related, we'll stick to that. But I feel like trolling the Eagles would be nice.
We could. I mean, if it's worthy of that, we'll see how far they go. We'll see how worthy of that they will be.
If they make it to the Super Bowl, I'll be kind of salty, but we ain't trolling them. I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I'm being optimistic.
Yeah.
I think the Detroit Lions can take them out. I think the Lions can take them out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about this. Anything that I say further will be reiterations of what I said previous videos. It's just there's nothing else that we really can do.
Mm-mm.
Giants fans, just be happy it's over. You no longer have to be tortured and be forced to watch horrible football, at least for now.
Yes, I
Um,
mean, like had to put specific clothing on to go to the gym. Like I have not grabbed a Giants shirt to wear to the gym because I don't want to have conversations with people about the New York Giants. That's bad.
yeah, it
That's
is
really
bad.
bad.
That's bad.
Because I know that I would be a target. I would be targeted. I definitely live in the Eagles country, and I would definitely be targeted, and I would have to have conversations that I didn't want to have. So I did. So I chose not to wear any Giants related gear. Every so often, I'd wear the hat, my NY hat, but that's just about it. Um, but like a shirt or anything that's really says Giants on it, no. And I've really have out of all the bad seasons, I this is probably the one that I really, really, really didn't want to talk
Yep.
about.
There's
And
been a
there've
lot
been
of
a
bad
lot of
seasons.
them. And there've been a lot of
There's been a
them.
lot of bad seasons,
But this
but
is the one that,
this is
yeah,
it. This is the worst. It
yeah.
doesn't get worse than this, especially because, like we've been saying, what they did to get to this point, and that we got to see all of it in action, like in real time. Eh, Worst season ever, easily.
Yeah.
It's very hard to beat this. This is easily the worst season, and it probably will be the worst season to come. I don't think there really will be. They won't be able to top this. It's going to be impossible because unless we get another player that's like Saquon Barkley esque and we get rid of him for free, there's no other way. There's like no way that you could replicate this again. You'd have to like actually be a fool to try to replicate this. This season and off season should be studied by every general manager and head coach in the league, and they should really make sure they don't do what we did because a recipe for failure. Everything they did was a recipe for failure.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, speaking of recipes, we've got we've got some of our folks in the chat talking about having a double shot of some hen dog. King King
Hen dog. That
King
sounds
Big
crazy.
Mo Hennessy. Yeah, it's a double shot of that just because it was just such a horrible season to watch. Like every week, it
Rage
every
inducing.
time
Just
it was rage inducing, and it just never it was a never ending. Just it nothing ever got better, and
and it sucks because
it's
you know it's going to be bad and you still get upset because you were right. Like I would prepare for the game, like, all right, time to prepare. They're not going to be good. They'll play bad. There'll be turnovers. Especially when Daniel Jones was playing, I was like, Daniel Jones is going to stink. He's going to throw an interception. He's going to fumble it. He's going to make that stupid, goofy look he makes when he makes a mistake. And it didn't help. I would just still be crashing out and just still getting mad, just yelling at the screen. It just you can't prepare for your team to suck, even if you
no.
try to. You could try, but it's still gonna hurt the same. You're still gonna be upset. You're still gonna want them to win.
One of our other someone who has popped into our chat before, Jay, is in and of course mentions the horrific and disappointing season and says that Shane should go, but Jay does not see Mara letting him go. Yes, I think it's going to be one or the other. I don't think they're going to throw the proverbial baby out with the bathwater. I don't think they're going to say, okay, let's just clean house. I don't think they're ready to do that. I don't think there, I don't think there is personnel out there to replace them that they'd be happy with. So I think they have to be really smart about this, and then they're going to have to, I guess, cultivate a coach. Is there someone on the staff of the Giants that could be head coach? I don't know if that's the case. Um, but we definitely need some new blood. There's no question about that. And I don't know. I definitely am not interested in another season like this one. They better bring it with this draft. Okay, they better bring it. Jay says offensive has more promise. Add a competent OC and QB, and we can do some things. Okay, well, yeah, exactly. It's just where are they going to find this competent, the competent offensive coordinator, and we need a head coach that's definitely going to make a difference and not piss people off. We don't need another asshole. You need to find one of those guys that people say, "Oh, he's such a good guy. He's such a cool guy. He's such a nice guy." That's the kind of coach we need to come into this situation because I think they've had enough of the angry asshole guy. That's what I think.
Well, the thing is, before him, we had the dopey idiot, Joe Judge, who just told you half-ass stuff. He was just trying to tell you what you wanted to hear. Then before him,
Yeah.
We had Pat Shermer, who, in my opinion, he couldn't be a leader. Nobody really wanted to listen to him. It just didn't feel like he was a good leader. So we didn't
True.
actually have
Very
a good
true.
track record of good leaders for this team anyway. But having someone as hot-headed as Daboll clearly wasn't working because Wink Martindale resigned. He resigned. Like he didn't get fired. He left
Right.
and said his issue was with Daboll.
Yeah.
That should be a red flag for Joe Shane and John Mara. Wink Martindale is a very ride or die type of person. He was all in. He wanted to be with the Giants until he had that altercation with Daboll on the field during the season where they argued and they showed them arguing at yelling at each other. And then I knew from that point forward it was rough. And then all of a sudden they started arguing more. And I was like, man, I don't think Wink Martindale's going to be a Giant next season. And I spoke that into existence because he resigned. As soon as the season was over, he resigned. It was almost like he couldn't wait.
He couldn't wait. I mean, that's really what happened. He couldn't wait. I mean, King Big Mo says he expects Shane Bowen to be one of the first ones to get canned tomorrow. Followed by Mike Kafka. Yeah, Kafka has kind of been able to, despite all other changes, has kind of been able to kind of just smooth things over for himself and stay employed. I think it's time for us for a fresh start.
He took a page out of Daniel Jones's book, lasting for 6 seasons.
Maybe there's conversations happening with another team that wants to unload their staff, and maybe we can do a trade or something. I don't know how they work these things out. Again, there's not like there's a this gluttony of um of coaches that we can select from. It's not that type of party. So
No,
we'll see what happens. And maybe there are some deals being made, some conversations being had. Something needs to be popping off. But it's going to be a while because the rest of the league has playoffs. And I'm hoping that we're not going to take too many uh people of or personnel from other losing teams. I'm hoping that
that could happen.
that yeah, maybe they're just on the wrong team and
We took the
they
defensive
could.
coordinator from the Titans, and they weren't. They were like, "Oh, his ranking was great." Yeah, but like, that's a completely different division. Like maybe it was just the division they were in. You brought that defensive coordinator over to us, and we're 31st in rushing and like bottom three in passing.
Yeah.
So like that didn't do anything, and it didn't mean anything. So I don't know. I can't. It's very difficult to talk about the Giants and like be optimistic.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can't do it.
there's really not that much to be
You have to be
optimistic about at
realistic.
this point. Yeah, we have to be realistic. I mean, Michael Holmes says we should get a QB and trade down, fix the old line, the DBs, and then everything else wrong with this godforsaken team. There's a lot that
Yeah.
needs to be done. There's a
Yes.
lot that needs to be done.
And every year
And
it becomes more and more.
yeah,
Like there's just more and more that has to be done because we continue to regress. There is no. We had that 1 year of improvement, and then we just regressed, and it's just a continuous regression. We have to do something to turn it around, and especially the
yeah,
QB.
yeah,
So
pretty much. Pretty much. And we can only hope that they are eyeing a quarterback that they can get with the pick that they'll have in that first round of the draft. I
mhm.
really hope that they figure that piece out as soon as
Yes,
possible. Yeah.
I hope so too. I would say we're running out of time, but we're not anymore because we don't have Daniel Jones. We were running out of time because we were trying to figure out what to do with Daniel Jones. But when you're trying to figure out what to do with the quarterback, you only have 2 to 4 seasons max to figure that out. Otherwise, you're wasting time with the team and you're wasting that quarterback's time. And Daniel Jones's time, basically almost half his career was wasted. So have fun, Daniel Jones, with the rest of your career. At least you don't have to deal with New York media anymore. Um, I kind of feel bad for you because you didn't ask to be put in this position, but
Yeah.
now you're probably the most hated person in New York City. So you didn't ask to be there, but you're definitely top three most hated athlete of all time in New York. So maybe don't show your face around New York area. I don't think that's a good idea. Again, you didn't
Well,
choose to
maybe
do that. That wasn't your fault. You were placed in a very bad situation.
maybe people will have some forgiveness for him because it wasn't
Maybe.
his fault. Maybe they'll have some.
I don't know. People like me would not be
Nobody probably
merciful.
would recognize him anyway if he, nobody would
For his sake, I hope not.
recognize.
Somebody might try to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
So,
All
but
right. Well,
it is what
uh,
it is, guys. We're
it
done.
is what it is.
Happy New
The
Year, by the way.
season's over. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you so much for being with us for this season of family bonding, the mother and son post game show, the first mother and son post game show. We are the first mother and son to do it. And to do it in this capacity and for the New York Giants. So we'll
Yeah,
take it. But I don't think there's anybody doing it. We're the first mother and son to do sports. How about that?
yeah.
How
So
about that?
you know how to support us, though, guys. You got to hit that like, thumbs up, if you will. Please subscribe. We've been getting subscribers slowly but surely, but we really would appreciate it if you continue and show us that support and help us grow. The family only grows with your support.
Please let everybody know in the off season, like, oh, there's this great show we watched during the
Yeah,
season. And let everybody know and make sure that they subscribe so that we need them. We need your inner circles.
yeah. So, and we will do our best to put out information and make videos, maybe live streams, maybe, um, regarding anything that happens in the off season. So we can try to, keep you guys entertained through the off season. If information comes out that we feel is worthy, we'll make a video. But sometimes we'll see things we're like, that's basic information. But if something juicy or spicy comes out, yeah, we'll make a video.
Yep.
If it so yeah, just look forward to those videos, guys. We will be making videos to stay relevant and keep you guys entertained during the off season because the off season could be really boring. So we need to keep each other entertained, try to be happy, look forward to the next season and see what happens with this New York Giants team. We can only move up from here. I believe I said that last season. I guess I truly mean that this time because I feel like this is actually the bottom. I don't think you can get any worse than this. I think the only way really to go is up from here. So let's just pray on it, guys. Really, that's all we can do. We've got several months before our next season. So let's hope for the best. And let's also pray that the Eagles don't make it to the Super Bowl because that would really, really throw even more salt into the wound for Saquon being let go.
Yeah.
If Saquon wins the Super Bowl, I promise you, John Mara is gonna need a psychiatrist to give him some sort of crazy medication to help him go to sleep.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think we
'Cause
will need to make sure that
that would
somebody's in close proximity to him to make sure he's
yeah,
okay if that
yeah,
happens.
because he was the one who was,
I won't sleep if Saquon goes to the Eagles.
yeah, well, he must be on some strong stuff because
He's
he is
got to be. He must be
definitely.
drinking a lot too.
Oh my God. Wow. What an inside look at our team. And it's more than what I needed to see.
You really
It
can't
really
make it
truly
up.
was.
None of
You
the
can't
stuff
make
that
it up.
happened, you can't make any of it up.
You can't.
So,
You can't.
but
So
that's it, New York. We'll see you guys probably in a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. If the Eagles lose, I 100% will convince my mom to get on here so we can make a video. If the Eagles lose
we
in the
could do
playoffs,
that.
yes. So
Also,
there's no definite time though.
we might want to react to we might do something to react to the hirings and firings and things
Yep.
of that nature
Yep. So
if
look
that
out for
happens.
those. Yeah, whatever coach moves they make, whatever happens, look out for those. We'll make a video on it. We'll probably do a live stream, just do a quick short video, talk about it for 15, 20 minutes. But other than that, we can't guarantee you when we'll make our next video. So just keep your eyes peeled. Maybe in the next two to
Yes.
3 weeks, we'll have another video out reacting to whatever goes on with the Eagles or whatever happens with the Giants. So
That's why you got to hit that little bell, make sure that so
please,
that you get Because I do, but I do YouTube posts to let everybody know when we're going to be coming on live. So,
Hmm.
you definitely, if you if you click that little bell, if you click on that, you will definitely you'll get the hookup. You'll get notified when we're doing stuff. So Daboll is Jay says Daboll is the big problem. He thinks he's the smartest person in the room. He was exposed this season. His offense sucks. He
He's an
couldn't
idiot.
score points or make big plays except for Neighbors. It's true. That's
I
it.
agree. He's an
Uh
idiot.
Rob Goldie has joined us. Playoff videos would be dope too,
Okay.
even if covering other teams. Yeah, sometimes
Okay.
we have opinions and sometimes we do stuff like that. So
If you
thanks,
want
Rob
that, we can do
Goldie.
it. I'll
Yeah,
be down.
sometimes yeah. Jay says fire Dayball, send him back to the OC ranks or college football. Exactly. I don't really care where he goes.
He can't be with
Not,
us.
he just cannot be the head coach of the New York Giants
Yeah,
anymore.
no.
It's just that didn't get us anything
Nope.
good for the 2024 season. So there's no, they need to just move. Hopefully, they're having that discussion right now. And by tomorrow morning, because usually after that week 18 Sunday night, the next day they'll start putting out some information about
Yeah.
who's staying, who's going, all that other stuff.
Hmm.
We'll see what happens. But I'll be every time I get a little update from my Giants app, I'll be looking to see what it is because I know there's gonna be somebody's going to get canned. And I really hope it is Dayball because I think he's a poison that needs to
He
be.
deserves to be canned. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
deserves it. So
The players need someone that they can believe in and that talks to them with dignity, but
yeah.
also can kick them in the butt when they need to be kicked in the butt. There's a balance. There's a a very fine balance between the two, but it must be done. It
Yeah,
must
nobody
be.
wants a jerk supervisor.
No,
Not even an athlete. No, nobody wants a jerk supervisor.
no,
You'll play harder for somebody that you respect.
it's
And
true.
you're willing
Right.
to go out there, as Allen Iverson would say, go out there and die for. You go out there and
Yeah.
die for your coach, as opposed
Hmm.
to going out there and being like, I really want to give it all for this guy. He's a jerk. That's
Yeah.
what I feel like they
Yep.
think.
Right. They're holding back because they don't want to give it all for him.
Yeah. What if I get
That's not a
injured
good
giving it all on my all for this jerk?
right.
They don't want
Yeah,
to do all that.
that's not a good look. It's just
Yeah.
not. It's not. So, all right. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll talk it over. We'll talk about
Thank
it
you
during
for
another
joining
video.
us.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Stay tuned for our next video. My mother will be posting when we do our next video. So look out for that. Happy New Year, everyone. Take care.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye. All right, we are done. We had
Oh my
um
God, that's